Hello and welcome to the Harmony of Minds podcast. Now, Harmony of Minds podcast is an initiative by Harmony of Minds. Harmony of Minds is a mental health initiative that brings about mental health awareness through the creative arts. When we talk about Harmony of Mind podcast, we bring for you stories, we bring for you studies, we bring for you stories and resilience journeys for people in the creative sector. And this year we're starting to, build our momentum to look into statistics, to look into information that most of the topics that are not really looked at in the creative sector. And here we are. I am with Emmanuel.
Yes, nice to see you.
Yes, Emmanuel has just greeted you right now, and we are very happy to be here today. And our topic today is we're talking about what are the realities of drug abuse and drug use in the creative sector. So, what triggered this conversation today is we saw Douglas Ranga post about drug abuse, and he was crying out to that major Kanerogaba to bring help to help the creatives because there was just a big challenge in the sector that he is in his creative own bubble, and we just wanted to talk about it in full detail. So just like asking Emma and knowing just more about like what is really happening in the creative sector, especially when it comes to drug use and drug addiction.
So, drug abuse is something that lies in the corridors of the creative sector. It's something that can easily be underestimated because you won't really see them unless you're in their corridors or in their vicinity. It's something that is being used while they are in, say, before going up on stage. At times it's being used in areas to do with studios where they do their rehearsals or even as they chill as colleagues. It's something that is being embraced by them. And so we only started to see this as a very serious issue only after COVID. Actually, within that time of COVID, that's when we started to realize that, some artists actually are really high on drugs, Yes, so it's a timely thing that we need to really share about and see how possibly we can share some solutions here and there.
Yeah, actually, I believe what triggered the issue of the awareness, because already the drug use and drug abuse was already, and addiction was already there. But then what was not there was the awareness and the documentation and putting it to light. So during COVID-19, I believe people were more vulnerable to what was happening. People thought the world was coming to an end. And so people were more vulnerable to what was happening at that point. And so you get to see that because people are being open to different other vices that were going on through their lives. So also they found themselves talking more about what is happening to them, and that is where artists like Rachel Ray talked about her issue with drug addiction. That is where like we got to know about I remember we saw like a video, a small clip of Keiko. Like she just switched on and she was like as if she was not okay mentally, and then she just switched on. It sparked debate all over internet just close up to after COVID. And then I remember Jackie Chandru came out at that time. So I believe the time of COVID-19 left people this so vulnerability for them to actually talk about their own challenges. But still, let's still talk about how the drugs are really shared in common spaces where most creatives are, that is like in bars because of the nightlife, in studios, because I remember I was in a studio space where like most of the people that were in that area and in that vicinity were like actually using a drug. And as when you talk to them, they're like, oh, you know what, this is something that I'm used to for a very long time. It's something that I'm taking right now. Some of them are coping with it. Some of them it's like some form of medication for numbing their anxiety, numbing their struggle with depression. And so I just want us to talk about what pressures push the creatives to actually use the substances?
Most people see success, but behind the success, there is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
There is a lot of instability. There is a lot of emotional toil behind all that.
Yes.
And it's possibly because the nightlife, first and foremost, demands for so much, because it requires of you being present.
Yeah.
And at times, that's meant to be time for sleeping. And before you know it, because you are with colleagues,
Yeah.
you're going to have to use a particular substance to stay awake, or if not, to bond better with friends, because if you see your peers
Yeah.
taking a particular substance, then why not you? By the way, just before even that, I think it's important that the viewer out there gets to know what are some of these substances that we are talking about.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
but for starters, allow me just share one of these. We have seen so many embrace alcohol,
Yeah.
waraji, vodka. Some go for these
Cannabis.
very expensive, drugs,
Cocaine.
yeah.
Yeah. Meth.
Then
Yeah.
there is the local version that we call kavanga. It's the advanced marijuana, Yeah. So you find that a number of these things are being used.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we really need to see to it that we create or we try to advise on possible solutions that can help out creatives.
Wow. So when we talk about how deeply connected these issues are to mental health, obviously burnout, depression, and also like that pressure for creatives to stay relevant, more so in the music industry, in the film industry, in the content creator industry, that is TikTok and influencer market, we get to realize that most creatives actually want to stay relevant. And relevance, there is a way it has an energy it presents. I remember the last engagement we had, Mitch was saying that every time a creative performs, they're leaving themselves in that place. So you get to realize that sometimes creatives, and here I'm talking about like maybe the music creatives or the performative creatives. Probably an artist can have like 5 stages to go to, 5 places to go to. And then you get to realize that that is too much on them.
Yeah.
Like the art or the business is dependent on the art, on the art themselves. And so if the artist is not out there performing and doing all that they do best, then there is no sustainability in their art and in their pursuit in their career.
You talked
So-
about that bit of them being needed to perform in
Yeah.
multiple venues because of the multiple bookings that at times some of them get. And I think most of them get these many bookings because they are not open to telling the client that, you know what, I've been booked for the same day
Yeah.
in 5 different places. Yeah. So because of that, you find that they want to perform in all those places to see that they can make the most,
Yes.
from just one day. Because, say for example, this day that we had recently, Valentine's Day, the
peak
same
days,
artist,
yes.
is booked in several venues. You see him on this poster, on the other poster, and then you wonder how they are going to be able to leave Kampala, go to Masaka, from Masaka, go to Mbarara. Before you know it, they might
burnt
need to
out.
use a certain drug,
Enhancer,
or enhancer, to stay vibrant or even to stay in shape, So it's really at times so mad, that much love for excessive, like too much love for money, because that day comes once and you want to make the most out of it.
Yeah, I remember. But again, also sometimes I look at it like the industry the industry key holders. There is a way which the ecosystem is not like reliable enough for the artists. Because I remember one time Winnie Nwaji, she went on stage. I think she was not feeling well, and then she told the people, she was like, you know what? I know you guys paid your money. but right now I cannot perform. I'm not in the right mind to perform. And obviously the people that were there, they were supportive, and like they accepted her apology. But then like I put this more on the people, on like the stakeholders in the industry that do not create these options for creatives, for especially performing artists, whereby if you're not fine, it is okay. So that brings me to the topic that we always talk about, sustainability. Like, how can an artist actually sustain their career even when they're not overly performative? You understand? So, and it brings me to a deeper issue that is connected to mental health, and that is, we want to talk about some of the mental health challenges that these creatives go through. One of them being anxiety. Now, for those of you that do not know, anxiety is just like this uneasiness that you feel, whereby you feel you're not in the place that you're in. You feel like you're anxious all the time. You feel like you're not fitting in. You want to relax. You're not fitting in your environment. Depression is when you have excessive sadness. There's also that issue when you have an excessive sadness. The reason as we're talking about this is because I want creatives to just know, to at least know an idea. If, for example, you're not going to a therapist or a mental health practitioner to help you, at least you just know these things, and then you self-help, or you give yourself therapy. So when we talk about depression, is when you have sadness for, I think, like 2 weeks. If you can have sadness for 2 weeks consecutively without rest, then you may be having depression. When we talk about identity crisis, that is when you attach your identity and your value to something that is outside of who you are and what your core values are. So you easily get identity crisis. Sometimes some of the signs of identity crisis is when you forget what are your core values, is when you forget who you are, is when you're not comfortable in your own skin, is when you're not comfortable in your own body. So you get like sort of like an identity crisis. When we talk about, Emma, let's talk about the nightlife environment and how it influences, the drug use.
Staying awake in the night means, obviously, more reason for exposure.
Yeah.
And that happens many times because you are going to hop from one bar to the other just to make sure that DJs see you and play your music, Now, you find that at times you are networking with some of the key industry stakeholders that determine whether your music will be played here on radio.
Yeah.
So most of these guys are the ones that you're going to network with in some of these different nightclubs that most of these artists go to. So you find that it significantly increases the risk at which someone is going to heavily depend on these substances.
Yeah.
And you find that also we have a number of can I call them drug lords or something like that? Because you find that there are these people that are well known, or those different hotspots in different suburbs within the city.
True.
That are well known for selling
The best.
some of these substances. And people often go there to buy them. Before you know it, it's becoming a routine. Someone becomes like a real client that always just
Sometimes
calls,
you check up on them.
just calls, is it done? Should I send another package?
Wow.
One time, I won't mention the radio station, but it's one of the biggest radio stations we have in Uganda. I used to stay, at some point, I used to stay in a very common suburb in the city, Wandegea. And I saw this presenter come to pick his package by himself.
Yeah.
But I noticed, obviously, that he was picking some stuff that he might go back and do some puffs in his studio, maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, you mean also this guy does this, And he has such a very wonderful voice. He's very admired by so many upcoming presenters.
Yeah.
I could not really believe it. So you find that at times some of these people do that because of the access. And then maybe lastly, one of those that I can talk about is the fact that there is a lot of peer pressure, because you find that some producers do so, then some managers do so, then some promoters do so, and then you're all staged in that very same environment, and then maybe you are about to go up stage, and in that waiting lounge before you go up the stage, you're seeing other big artists seated in the corner doing some puffs, you know. So you're going to feel like, okay, I think I also need to do something like that to prepare myself so that I might go and give my best. Yeah. So, Jackie, for me, I think all these are bringing about the excessive use of alcohol. Yeah.
Actually, as we were introducing ourselves, we talked about how Douglas Ranga's post triggered our, our take on this, and we did a deep dive. But again, he was like, he was questioning. He was like, in Rwanda, when they find you with pot or with drugs, you go to prison. And when you give in someone who has maybe delivered it to you, you still go to prison. But how come, like in Uganda, that is not happening? Because he was pleading, saying that the drugs are really taking a toll on creatives. But now I'm talking about creatives because he is in a bigger ecosystem: musicians, DJs, graphics designers. He has a school of creatives, the Purple, I think, Academy, something of that kind. So when we talk about that being an issue, whereby 68% of people that take, according to the UNIPH, 68% of people that take actually drugs are being influenced through friendships because of their social circles. And even, as you know, for some of us that like went to school, they say people take alcohol because they want to socialize, so that is one of the key takers of why sometimes people use certain drinks. It's usually to socialize. But what roles does peer pressure or peer influence and so that social kind of like play, what role does it play in the drug and substance use?
One, first it starts with the curiosity. And you find that according to some of the statistics, like they say, most of the time when you go to an environment that you're really new to, and you see all these other guys trying to use a particular substance, one, you're going to become curious. And before you know it, because you already trust this person, they have been in the industry longer than you, and you look up to them. For some reason, if you're not really grounded in who you really are and in your personal values, then you are going to loosely want to try out something, and before you know it, you are a victim. So we ought to be people that are really grounded in self, to know that yes, I have a right to take a soda if at all that's what I really want to take. It's not about how will they see me. The fact that I'm not taking maybe say shisha like they are, yes, it's not a crime to always be yourself. So it's really important that however much you are in these different audiences, you ought to know who you really are.
Wow. You see, in most cases, I've gotten to realize that in the creative sector, obviously there are friendships, there are systems, but then sometimes when it comes to that point, how can one know if in case someone is trying to look out to help a person maybe who's dealing with drug addiction, how do you think what are those signs that someone can look at to know that, oh, maybe I think my friend is dealing with drug addiction. Maybe it's getting a toll on their mental health. Obviously, us seeing them use or abuse the drug, but what are those behind the scenes things that someone can look out for to know that, oh, I think my friend is having a challenge?
Most of the times when you see a friend basically dealing with this challenge of drug abuse, you will notice loss of appetite. And that's a very common one, because each time they have any money on them, they won't want to buy anything to eat. Most of the time, they will want to hide, go buy whatever they are buying, and then come and use that substance. Yeah, and at times even it gets too serious that they will hide away from you. They will start actually hiding away from you. The times that they used to be more present, this time around they will go hide, say maybe behind the house or in the bathroom, use whatever they want to use, then come back, you know. So that's one of those very common ones that I've noticed. The other one is more to do with behavior. There is a way someone that has used substances tend to be so hyper in terms of wanting to like
Have the vibe.
Like excessive vibe that is not themselves, you know. Some other kind of vibe, you know. So all those are signs that there is really something. And then at times you'll see those missed sessions happening, whereby they aren't actually showing up. Say maybe they had booked sessions at a particular studio, or they had been booked by a certain artist, by a certain client to perform. At times they won't show up. So all these are different signs that we can look at, and try to see to it that. Then there is that other aspect of the mood instability. That really kicks in.
There's that kind of like whereby today they are happy, like in a span of like 2 hours they're both happy and sad. They're trying to regulate their emotional well-being, and so their moods are not stable in one or the other. Yes.
And eventually actually you see their health deteriorating. Someone that usually wouldn't get sick now is often getting sick. Because the immunity is lower. Even you find that most of the time their career then now starts to sink. You see their graph starting to go down gradually. Why? Because they are literally missing out. They are not in places where you expect them to be. And so people even get tired of having you in their spaces.
True.
Because they see all the time you're with them, you're just a mess.
True. That's true. And that also, there's a way it brings down your career, because now your circle is your business. And now if these people are not inviting you, these people are not looking for you, then what's the point of you being in the industry? And I don't know if a creative out there is maybe listening to what is being said right now, and you're going through that, there is actually help that you can reach out to Harmony of Minds Uganda at gmail.com. We can easily get help for you. Reach out to someone that could maybe help in that kind of situation. But can we share some of, like, I know of some examples of artists that we have seen that have struggled with drug addiction. But let's start maybe from the international level. I remember when we were prepping for this, you talked about Whitney Houston. Like, people couldn't believe that she was struggling with drug addiction and everything, until on the day of her death, when
she was found in a hotel room, all messed up. They found drugs in her room.
Wow.
But then according to some of their close friends, they said that it had been something that she had been dealing with for over a very long period of time. It's just that
The public
the
didn't
public
know.
didn't know, yeah? But this has been the greatest cause of the deaths of many artists.
Creatives, yeah.
But then also, it's what has been causing about the sudden decline of the careers of different artists. There was this lady called Brenda Fassie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you find that this was a major cause that led to also her death. Yeah. So we really need to address this.
Yeah.
Because we are losing artists. We are losing so many artists due to this drug abuse.
Well, I am glad that in Uganda we are having artists that are coming out and talking about it. I remember Exodus. Exodus talked about it on, I think, 23 Questions on Sanyuka TV. He talked about it on various podcasts, including a podcast called... quite a number of podcasts. I don't fully remember the podcast. Yes, but Cute Kai talked about, drug addiction. Even here, he talked about drug addiction right here on Harmon of Minds podcast on Living Arts. Keiko is also talking about it, and she's getting the therapy that she needs. Big up to you, Keiko. Jackie Chandra has talked about, her struggle with drug addiction. She said she struggled with substance dependency, but Jostedi also battled with crystal meth addiction and depression. It also affected his career. So these things, we're not just saying things that are there, but these have actually lived experiences with some creatives and some artists in the music industry. So the disclaimer, we do not talk about these numbers or these people just for statistics and maybe to shame them or to make them feel in another way. We are doing it so that we can, help a creative out there to show you that actually there are those that are struggling, and you can go and reach out and do research on the creatives that we've talked about, like Jackie Chandiru, Exodus, Jostedi, Keiko, and then I'm sure you'll find podcasts that will help you. Cute Kaya, you'll find podcasts that will help you fully understand what their struggle is, so that in case you're there struggling with it, you can probably reach out to them on their Instagram, probably reach out to Harmon of Minds Uganda at gmail.com, and then we can find for you people that will help you and guide you. Yes, so we're talking about addictions that affects the creativity itself. Like, how does addiction actually affect the creativity itself? And it has long-term effects,
And
yes,
short-term.
and also short-term effects. Yes.
So in the short term, always it feels like just a simple enhancement,
yeah,
but in the long term, then it gets to become very destructive.
Yeah.
And why? Because never underestimate the power of habits. A habit is something that you can just start today out of curiosity, or out of the fact that, I think, let me just try to give this a try, or maybe you've been influenced by a friend to maybe do a sip or
A puff.
or a puff, and it just starts with that. Most of the time, it doesn't really taste good, actually. I can give an example. Like, as for me learning how to take beer back then, about close to 8 years ago, learning to take beer, the first time I tasted it, it was very sour. But just because my colleagues were taking it and it seemed like it was sweet, I took the other sip, and then before I knew it, it had become a habit. Now, each time I would go and join them, I would also order for a beer.
Yeah.
And something that started as a small thing became a real thing that I needed to use to help me with my discipline of now becoming more creative. So I began to think that if I were to become more creative, then I needed to take at least some Heineken so that I could be able to design. Yeah.
Wow.
And that became a whole fixated like behavior within me, that all the time I was going to sit on my laptop to do something, I needed to be high. Yeah. So you
Wow.
find that it brings about that whole bit of reliability,
Yeah.
rather than trying to control your own emotions or your
This emotional disturbances.
yes,
Yeah.
you rather now rely on substances to help you put you in a particular mood that you can be able to deliver to your
Yeah.
very best. So it's really affecting
Wow. First and
creativity.
foremost, it affects creativity because it brings brain fog. Now, according to my own testimony about that, I feel like I'm in church testimony. So about that, I remember when I think it was around 2022. I was like, I slept enough. I need to, work so hard. So I started to take rock boom. And then at first it was working. I was active, slept like for 2 hours, 3 hours, and I was okay. It was at a certain point, and then I could not understand what was happening with me. Like I was in a space, and then someone would talk to me, and then it used to take me a very long time to fully understand what they are meaning. And sometimes I would understand what they're talking about, like maybe the day before. Sometimes you had to go for interviews on TV stations, and then like they're asking you things, you do not know what's happening. And that kind of like situation whereby I had like this mental fog, just that I was really struggling with. And I know there are creatives out there that, struggle with that. Like, please, please. And for me, it could have just been rock boom, but it is still a substance
It is
that is used to alter the way how your brain functions.
surely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then there's that bit of inconsistency, yeah, still being brought about by still these very substances.
Yeah.
So most of the times it is better to teach yourself the good habits and to know when to work and to know when not to work and to know when to relax and to know when not to.
Yes.
To know when to switch on that creative gear, to brainstorm, to think, to do things in ways, But most of the times, because of embracing these addictions, thinking that it's what is going to help you become consistent, rather instead it does the opposite. You end up becoming the inconsistent version of you,
Yeah.
because at times you're going to take it and you will take it in a very big dose. Yeah. And at times you never know when to stop when you're using any kind of drug or
Yeah.
substance. You never know when to stop. Yeah. Because each time you take this, it keeps on demanding more of you. It keeps on demanding more of you. Before you know it, you're taking more and more,
Yeah.
and more and more. Before you know it, you can't even be in position to do that you used to do before.
Yeah.
So it's really a trap. Actually, I can call it a real death
It's
trap.
a trap, yeah, death trap. And surprisingly, we've lost a lot of talent because of drug addiction. This is a pain point for me. An artist like Radio, who like most people are talking about, like he was dependent on the drug. He could not have a healthy diet, and we've lost that. We've lost a lot of talent really to drugs, and also mental health, depression, suicide, and all those things. But I think drugs, I think it's the leading cause, because it's used to numb the pain.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
But again, also addiction also leads to career stagnation, because people are no longer associating with you, so you become start to be in the sidelines. At some point also you lose so many opportunities, because now your networks no longer trust you to actually contain your emotions, because you're high, you're low, you once you're off the drug, you are another thing altogether. We've seen artists that are so volatile, they're so aggressive. Once they come in a room, we've seen artists that are into, like, now it's like as if they are syndicates, they're fighting each other. They go, there's an artist that went and fought people at the hospital, but I think I want to connect all of that to drugs, because the drugs give you an illusion of strength. They give you an illusion of, I am there, I have reached. Also withdraw from the industry. Sometimes when people are dealing with addictions, they withdraw from the industry, some to recover, some to fully indulge in the drug, but mainly some of them to recover. Even the examples that we have given, at some point, we could not see Exodus in the industry. He was lost for some time. At some point, we could not see Jackie Chandra in the industry because she was going through recovery. At some point, we could not see Keko on an all-time big rapper in the industry, because at that point they were dealing, with with this substance and its own dependency. But how widespread is substance abuse just beyond the industry? Let's talk about it being like the bigger picture.
Uganda is one of those countries that have the highest alcohol consumption rates globally. Now, globally, that is really scary. And
true.
I must say, I won't mention the exact position, but just know we're among the top 5. That is really scary.
Wow.
And then, shockingly, even when it comes to the alcoholic volumes, Ugandan beers stand almost above 5.6%.
Wow.
Up to a tune of about 9.8. Now, most of these other beers in some of these Western countries and the Asian countries are about 1.2%, 3.2%, which is too low. So you find that really Ugandans have serious heads.
How are we doing it?
To handle such heavy alcoholic volumes. And so it's really a scary, a very, very scary percentage. And then you find that it's also been reported that about 9.8 adults in Uganda are all suffering with alcoholic, because of constant use of alcohol, they have those kind of disorders. And it's such a very big number. It's such a very big number. And I must say, within the creative sector, it's even much more. So it's something that we really need to sit with, that we try to handle. Young people, because of the exported Western culture, we tend to think that the use of substance is what is going to make us have that kind of vibe or have that kind of swag, or that is what is going to make us really stand out. And then you find that we end up embracing some of these substances. The numbers clock from about 61 to 70% of the young people in Uganda have at least tried as 1 or 2 substances. And you find that our average age being about 17 years of age, so many are trying it, even in school. In school,
true.
You find that a child at least has used Kuba, or they have used, say, a small tote pack. And before you know it, it's becoming a daily routine. So the numbers are really alarming. We need different stakeholders to come out and address these issues, because if they don't, then the future generation is at a very big risk. Tomorrow's leaders are at a very big risk.
Actually, talking about schools, I remember I was in I'm not going to say that, I was going to say the name. I remember, like I used to, as a backbencher most of the time. Well enough, I've gone to so many schools. So people, I've been in so many schools. So it's hard to know. So I was always a backbencher, in most of my school. I was going to say that class, most of my school. And then like there were some boys that used to take Kuba, to concentrate in class and all of those other things. And it's really prevalent. But also, again, I know the story where they knew there was like a supplier of weed in school. No, of cigarettes. I think also weed in school. And so they went and they, bust open their cartons of milk. Every milk box, they cut it open. They squeeze out all their Colgate. They try to ask, how did this boy keep his stash? Where did he keep his stash? Then after like 2 years, he had left school, and then he went back to the school, those things of like old boys, old girls, unions. And then one of the teachers asked them, but how did you handle that? Then he told them, if you carry the decker and then you fix them in there, that's where he used to put them in those pipes. I was like, wow. So at the same time, I believe schools have to create a certain form of syndicate, an information syndicate, where teachers are in the know, where, I don't know, get an awareness, a program on an awareness campaign whereby they talk about this a lot, apart from them just going out and looking for these people who are selling the drugs, expelling them. No, are you actually having workshops talking about the dangers of drugs? Because I don't remember having that conversation in my school. In all the schools that I've been with, I think the only thing we studied them in class because of maybe a class subject, but they didn't call us and then they tell us drug addiction, this. They did not push it down our throat, and I think that becomes a problem in one way or the other. But let's talk about the economic impact of drug addiction on creatives. The economic impact. For example, loss of income, because now if you're dependent on drugs, you're going to use all your money to buy drugs. Drugs are also connected to promiscuity that is meant by prostitutes. So you're going to find like every money that you get, you're putting it into, you're investing into the drugs. You're buying alcohol, you're buying, the cocaine. And also we talk about like there is also increased dependency on the substance, because the more you're buying it is the more, I remember there is a writer called James Clear who says that a habit is built in 14 days. Within 14 days, that is now a habit. And to break it, it needs like double that time, to undo the habit.
Exactly.
So it also brings debt and also financial instability, because now there are some people who go to bars and then they get, beer on debt. Buy for this one, I'll pay the next time.
Excitement.
That excitement. So you're getting on debt. And because of that, now you're having instability, because now you're borrowing to just drink, or to have your substance. You're even when you earn, you spend on that. So there is that kind of like instability connected to it. But some studies show that 28% of people that use substances actually turn to crime, because it actually becomes now an addiction. And an addiction becomes now a need. Without it, you're restless, you're anxious, you feel you need it all the time. And this affects a lot about your life. It affects family. You're always in conflict with your family, because no one or nobody wants to be with someone who is abusing a substance, because when you're abusing a substance, you're aggressive, you're volatile, you're like a volcano. No one knows what's going to happen to you the next time. Also that fear that when you go there and are you going to overdose, which are your contacts, which are the people that are in your networks. Also loss of relationships. So many families have broken up because in general, leave alone even the creative sector. But so many families have broken up because of drug addiction or because of alcoholism, because of substance use, because it also leads to domestic violence when people use drugs. I know of people. I know of a very wonderful, beautiful couple that actually broke up because someone was using cocaine, because of the domestic violence. Someone wants to hit them every time they are high. They are insecure all the time because they know deep down in their hearts that they are unstable. And so this person is going to look for someone that is a little bit more stable. Yeah. Even this is just like a disclaimer. Even public figures, they struggle with mental health. You understand? And because there is that struggle with mental health, it affects the entire community, because many people look up to the
Them.
public figure.
Yeah.
So there's a way it just deals with a whole community and a whole society as well. And therefore, that's why you see I always advocate for mental health awareness, number one. But also the reason as to why mental health awareness is so important, because it subscribes to people seeking for help. Is them knowing that I've known I have a problem. I think I need to see a therapist. I need to see a counselor. I need to see a religious leader that can help me with this challenge that I'm having. So I would encourage creatives out there, and also the general public, those that do not seem or do not see they are creative, because I just believe everyone is a creative. But I would love to encourage anyone out there is to seek for help. You need help, and mental health is an actual problem that needs your help. Yes, please, Emma.
Jackie, I still feel like we really need to help the audience out there really get to understand what are some of the main causes of this so-called actually, what are the root causes of this substance use?
Yes.
Yeah, because then if we help them really maybe get to understand these root causes, then maybe it will help them in getting to know why maybe are they getting into the use of these substances. And you talked, Mother Stat, you talked something about the whole financial instability thing. Yeah, we need to know that not having money with you for a single day is not the end of the day.
True.
Or is not the end of the world for you. That we must be able to keep hopeful, you know. The beauty about art is like creating something very nice, and then you go and you keep it in the bank, knowing that at some point in time it will be able to even give you much more in terms of interest, you know. So we ought to be very hopeful that things will be better. Things will be better, because that's among one of those highest reasons as to why so many people really go into substance use. Yeah, because they are so unaware, or they really doubt their future. They're like, but I'm doing all this, but I'm broke. When will I get from this, you know? So are there more of those root causes that you can maybe share about?
Some, I think, of the root causes of drug use and abuse is to numb the pain. So the thing is, sometimes, especially performing arts, you leave a piece of yourself in every place that you go. And given the nature of work that many creatives have usually, it is very and highly performative. And so you get to realize that there is a lot of burnout in the creative sector, because as an individual, the whole brand is connected to you as a person. So there is no one that has a voice like you have. There is no one that can act like you can act. No one has your face, no one has your shape, no one has your color, the things that, you know, maybe producers need, the things that maybe audiences need, right? And therefore it puts creatives in a place whereby it is them that is needed for the business to actually run. And because of that, there is a lot of burnout, and at some time that burnout can lead to anxiety and depression. So many creatives take drugs or use drugs to keep afloat, to feel like they have this in control. I've got this in my hands. I have this figured out. And so maybe they can use like an enhancing drug so that they can manage maybe a performance, maybe manage to say a work on a film set. And that is one of the reasons as to why some artists, you know, use drugs. But again, also sometimes the artists use the drugs to just associate, to have the vibe, you know. Sometimes because the industry, because now, for example, I'm talking about maybe these artists are in a band. there's a bad night, they finished performing, but now the vibe is high. People are having fun, and then bring on the bottles. Let's that in this table, and then they bring in alcohol for the vibes. We bring in alcohol, and then it becomes sort of like a livelihood. Sort of like, this is how we do life. This is how we vibe. We vibe with this sort of like alcohol, and at some point people adding like the hard stuff, cocaine, meth, and marijuana. So I think those are some of the reasons as to why sometimes creatives use or abuse drugs.
What do you have to say about the home and family environment? Because I think it also plays a very key role in shaping how someone perceives use of substance. Because at times, if you grow up in an abusive environment, or where your dad or say mom was literally an addict, then I think it comes easy when you join your peers and you see them also do the same thing. What do you have to say about that?
I think also that comes to familiarity. This thing being a familiar stance, whereby it's you've been seeing it already. Mommy has been, taking maybe alcohol. Your father's been taking alcohol. He's sipping his alcohol as he's watching TV. When they go to parties, they are, having alcohol. So it is in one way or the other already familiar. You've been seeing it in social events and in social constructs. So by the time you first use it, then at some point, because it even depends on why you're taking it. Because now if you're taking it to numb pain, if you're taking it to replace a certain emotion that you do not want to exist or you do not want to face, now you become independent of it. You start to depend heavily on it. You want to, the moment you're feeling sad, you're taking the drug. The moment you're feeling anxious, you're taking the drug. In any ways. But also some of the things that brings upon that is glorifying it. If you stay in a community that glorifies that lifestyle, whereby it has made money. For example, if you grow up in a family whereby it's a family of bars, they have bars and you are heavily engaged into the business, then it's glorified because it has taken you to school, it has fed you, it has done all these other things. And obviously, it is going to be something that is totally acceptable to you. But also, when you focus on recovery, and also when you focus on people in your family, because there are those people that can be in families are like, oh, I have a drug addiction, let me go and work on it. Then there are those that it is actually the drug that has taken them away, and then it becomes subconsciously an okay thing for your family members to actually take away family members because of the drug. Just like how maybe people can say for us it's diabetes. So it has to take one person who's a generation curse breaker, who's like, you know what, me, I do not want a drug to take me away, and then maybe you can seek help from there. But usually those are some of the reasons that,
There is that whole hidden hope of feeling good.
Yeah.
I have I've asked so many people that I think are addicts with, say, a particular substance. And so many of them have told me, whenever I take this, I feel good. The Rastafarian say, I feel ire, something like that.
Ire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I think it's just a lie. It is just a lie. They have never discovered true happiness, where really true happiness lies. Yeah. And I think for me, it lies so much in getting to know who you are.
Yes.
And getting to know what really makes you happy. What really makes you happy. Yeah. We tend to think it's all this use of substance, but it's never been the case. Yeah, it's never been the case.
Yeah.
What you're really made for, what really God created you for, once you do it and you do it from the bottom of your heart, it is enough to derive enough happiness that is long lasting, that brings about value in your community.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then also I feel we need to address the issue that for those that are friends with some of these creatives, it's important that they check on them once in a while.
Yeah.
Because for anyone, no one was created to be there like alone and to really do everything alone by himself. Yeah. At some point in time, you're going to feel down. At some point in time, you're going to be stressed about something, and you really need to speak to someone. Yeah.
Yes.
But at times, some artists are introverts in personality, so you find that they never want to share with others. But then once you handle them well, or once you talk to them nicely, or once you become very good friends with them, then they will easily confide in you, that they will tell you what they are going through. Yeah. Recently I watched an interview done by Salvador, and he said something that really struck me so hard. And he said, you know what, at times it's he said most of the mental health challenges to a creative begin
from
family. Yeah. When your wife doesn't really understand
your spouse
what you do or what you're going through, you know. So as a creative, we really need to create that safe space as family, that they may be able to lean on you, you know, to talk to you whenever it really matters. Yeah.
Wow, we are coming to the end of the hour. And but again, as we close, Emma, I just wanted to talk about something that is very important to, you know, to the people that are listening to us, is that actually there is a way out of what you're going through, especially for someone that is dealing with drug abuse and addiction, especially that is the person that is dealing with addiction, is that there is always recovery. There's possibility for recovery, that is going for therapy, going to rehab, joining a community that is supportive to you, that understands what you're going through. Then also have time and consistency with building and working on your healing journey as a creative, because recovery is possible, but again at the same time it also requires support. And also, like how you say, like family is very important, family to support you on your journey. Sometimes it may be so hard for you to even look for rehab. You know, I remember Cute Kai said he took himself to the rehab center. I was like, you know what, I cannot deal with this, I'm done. And then he took himself to the rehab center. But I would call upon family, if you know someone that you know is struggling with, you know, alcohol consumption, heavy alcohol consumption, and any form of drug, there are rehab centers in Uganda that we can go to. And I would also encourage the government of Uganda to please, you know, invest in the mental health facilities, because these facilities are expensive.
Yes.
It can take like 2.5 million, 1.5 million for someone to actually, you know, get checked into a rehab facility.
Averagely about 83,000 Ugandan shillings.
Yes, that is a very big margin, and it's a very big number. Sorry, that number is too big for maybe someone who is a struggling artist, who even doesn't have a support system. And if we can do that, I think that would be so amazing. Yes, Emma, you said your last goodbye to the people.
Well, drug abuse in Uganda is not just about the drugs, as we call them. It's not just about some of those big names as we hear them. It's about the pressure. It explains the pain, the pains that creatives go through, the lack of support. At times, some of them, they are really being pushed to the wall because of that emotional toil that exists.
Yeah.
So we ought, as stakeholders in the creative sector, to come on board and try as much as possible to address some of these pressures that are being caused, to come in and help address some of these pain points that the creatives are facing in Uganda. Thank you.
Thank you very much and have a wonderful time. It has been an amazing time speaking to you. I hope you're going to be watching. I hope you're watching again. And we welcome any kind of topics. If you can have any topics for us to talk about, especially when it comes to the mental well-being of creatives, talk about identity and purpose of creatives, please let us know in the comment section. Until we meet next time, have a good night. Bye-bye.